Hello guys and welcome to another lesson of the CoffeeScript Foundations course of Rates Karate. In this lesson we will introduce you to the objects in CoffeeScript. We will work with them and show you all the things we can do with objects. Well, all the pretty basic stuff we're gonna learn in this lesson. So as always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Bastian Belandia. We're also as at Rates Karate. Follow us on Facebook. Always keep an eye on raceskarate.com where you will find the transcript of this video. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You help us a lot. And if you want to receive our weekly emails, subscribe to our newsletter. So let's start. First of all, let's solve the coffee challenge of the previous lesson. As always, make sure you have the coffee command running here. Let's start. First, I'm going to create a new coffee file called quiz.coffee. Okay, I will open it. I'm going to copy and paste all the code here. Okay, here is the code. Let me explain to you what we are doing here. So first we are creating an array, a two-dimensional array of questions. So each position of the array has a new array with two indexes or two values, the question statement and its answer. So as you can see, we have three questions here, and I also created two other arrays, one for the right answers and one for the wrong answers. So let me show you. Before explain the print list function, I'm going to explain you how this program is working. So first we have a for in questions. So the first thing we're gonna do is save the statement and the answer of the question. So we are looping over this array, and we are going to save into separate variables the question statement and the question answer. Then we're going to save the answer that user inputs through a prompt window, and if answer is answered, so if those are equals, so we push to the right array, we push that statement we saved here, and else we push the statement to the wrong array. The array is the array that stores wrong questions. Okay, we're going to loop over this array, over this one, and do all this stuff until here. Then I'm going to create a new HTML. I call it HTML, but you can call it whatever you want, and this is going to be equal to some HTML here for specify the correct answers, and then I append another string to the HTML variable, and we call the print list, and we send the right array. So here in the print list we receive an array, and we just iterate over the items of the array and print them using HTML. And create and return as a string with the HTML list. And we do the same for the wrong questions. Lastly, we call document.write, and we send the HTML variable, this variable. Okay, now let's show it working. First, I'm going to create a new folder called new file. I'm going to call it quiz.html. I'm going to go, for example, let's go to shopping cart, and we copy all this stuff. Let's open the quiz.html file, and here we just need to change this. Instead of shoppingcart.js, we're going to call quiz.js. That is the generated JavaScript file from this quiz.coffee file. So let's save it and let's preview it. So let's see preview. Okay, let's change the title here. I'm going to change it to be quiz. Make sure you save here and you save here. Okay, now let's preview it again. Okay, how many legs does a spider have? 8. How many curses does red skeleton have? We already have 2, but let's enter a wrong answer. Let's say 4. How many planets there are there in the solar system? There are 9. Okay, so we got 2 correct answers and 1 wrong answer. That was the coffee challenge. If you could solve this coffee challenge, don't forget to drop us a line on Twitter using the hashtag coffee challenge. And if you couldn't, don't worry, just participate in our community. We will love to see you there. So just use the hashtags we tell you, and let's start with the topic of this lesson. That's gonna be the objects in CoffeeScript. So I'm going to close all these. Let's see what we have in the index here. So we have the functions example. Let's use that file again. Don't create another file. Let's open functions underscore coffee. I'm going to delete these. Okay. First of all, let's see what is an object. You know that in Java and then in CoffeeScript we have arrays and we can store any type of data here. So you can see I can store these numbers, I can store strings. But in an array you have only an index, and the index has a value. For example, here the index 0 has the value 1, the index 1 has the value 23, the index 2 has the value 4, and the index 3 has an I string as value. So the first difference we're going to find in an object is that in an object we can set also any kind of data type in the object, and the object is composed of key value pairs or properties value pairs or property value pairs. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's create our first object in CoffeeScript. I'm going to call it person. That will be equal to, and I'm just going to hit the enter, and the editor already knows that we want to create an object and adds a tabbed space for us. Make sure, because here in CoffeeScript the indentation is very, very important. So be very careful with the indentation. So in this case, we already are indented. As you can see, I just hit the enter, or the editor already knows that we want to create an object. So I just hit enter and it indents for us. So let's create an object with the property name, and the property name will have the value, will have the value Sebastian. Okay, so let's see how we can access to the property in CoffeeScript. I mean, in an array you only could save the value but not the property name. So because all the values within an array only can be identified using an index, but in objects we have property names and also their values. Okay, so let's see how we can access to the name property within the person object. Okay, so let's see, I want to console log person, and I use dot with the name of the property, and I accessing to the name property within the person's object. So let's see how it works. I'm going to preview this, open it in a browser tab, we'll close this one. Let's see, open the JavaScript console for see what console log logs for us, and as you can see we have here the string Sebastian, that is the value of the name property. So the same with arrays, we can store any kind of properties, and any property can store any kind of data. So let's say let's say some other stuff here, married false, this is a boolean value, age 21, February, colors. I want to save here an array, and an array will have the blue color, black, and green, for example. And so as you can see, I have here 4 properties, and the properties have different kind of data types. So I can access to them the same as I did with name property. Okay, let's see if I access to, for example, to favorite colors, and this is an array, so I want to access. Okay, now just let's print the array, so you will see here what I'm talking about. And as you can see, now we get back at the array that is stored within the favorite colors property of the person object. Now what happens if I want to add another property that I didn't define at the beginning of the object? I mean, I just defined these 4 properties, but let's say that later on in the program I want to add a property to the person object. So I just need to say person, that the name of the new property, I'm going to call it, let's say we're in a game, so I say score, and we assign a value to the property using this. And let's see what we can have here in the person's whole object. So let's see what after this, if we can get back, I mean, we have all the properties. Let's see what happened. And as you can see, the console logs an object and all the properties, including the score property I added after the object was declared. So this will be obvious. I mean, this can be obvious, but if you want to change the property of name, for example, its value, you just need to say person that the name of the property equals to a new value. So I'm going to Erica. Okay, I'm going to say person that name. Let's see what happened. And as you can see, the property was changed. Okay, sorry. So this is how objects work in Java, in CoffeeScript, and in JavaScript it's the same. The unique difference is that you have different syntax for define an object using curly braces and other stuff. But this is the better way we can use in CoffeeScript. Now, as same with arrays, we can also iterate through the properties and values within an object using a loop called for of. So let me show you this loop. So we want to loop over each property value pairs. So let me show you. For prop, we can name this value of person. Console.log. I'm going to print a string using interpolation. Has a value and the value variable. Okay, this is the way we iterate through the property value pairs. So we define a for of loop, and we define the name of the property variable and the name of the value variable. You can call this whatever you want. You can call it this key, you can call it whatever. I just decided to call it property or prop. Okay, so in each iteration we are going to have these pairs of values. I mean the property name and its value, the property name and its value. So each iteration will be a property value pair. So let's see what CoffeeScript logs for us. And as you can see, we get back each string with each property name and value, property name and value, property name and value, and the same here, property name and value, that is an array. Okay, as you can see, CoffeeScript converts the array to a string for us. So this is amazing. Now that you know how to create and modify objects and well all that stuff, and now let's see how we can improve our shopping cart. Because if you remember, I told you a better approach to the shopping cart will be using objects instead of two-dimensional arrays. So let's improve it. By the way, if you want to create an empty object, you can use curly braces. Let me show you. We will need it in this task. So let's convert each item to an object in this shopping cart simulator example. So instead of creating declare an array, I'm going to declare an empty object. I use curly braces here. Okay, so this is a new empty object. I just need, instead of make a push because we now have an object, I'm going to say new item name dot name prompt. This will be equal to the prompt and the value that the user enters, and let's say price equals to the prompt value that the user inputs. Okay, and now we can say if name, if new item the name and new item that price, push it to the shopping cart array unless new item dot name. Okay, unless new item dot name. Now next we are saving the values, the new item as an object within the shopping cart simulator. Now we need to print it as it should be printed. So basically what we have here in this example, we have an array that contains objects, so when we make a for here, in each iteration we will get back an object. This item will be an object, so we just need to access its properties. So the first is the name and the second is its price. Price. Okay, let's see how it works. I'm going to open the preview of the shopping cart. I'm going to say milk, $1, eggs, $2, soda, $3, and a little bit empty. We finished, and as you can see, it prints out a HTML list, and the same result was reached. So we use here objects instead of two-dimensional arrays. So this does not mean that we do not need to use two-dimensional arrays. We need them, indeed. However, for some use cases, you will find better to use objects. The next lesson we'll be talking about something called JavaScript object notation, or JSON. This is a good introduction for the next stage of this course. So stay tuned, and we have here a coffee challenge for you. If you haven't already, go to the article of the page of this lesson. The link is in the description of the video or in the corner in an annotation. Read the coffee challenge, take a look to it, and we hope you could solve it. Okay, if you can solve it, so don't forget to send us or to drop us a tweet on Twitter using the coffee challenge hashtag, or even if you could not solve it, just reach us, get in touch using the hashtag, and see you next lesson with the JSON. New topic, an amazing topic that we are going to talk in the next lesson. So see you next time. Bye bye.